Okay, I thought we'd have a go today with the old cheap markers. I've been meaning to do this for ages, but it's such a time-consuming exercise that it's taken me a while to get round to it. So I've picked this page. This is my my colouring book. I know a lot of you have got these by now. Don't have that many left, so if you did want one, I'll slap the link in the description. But I won't be doing it. Well, I say I won't be doing it. I probably won't do a reprint on these. I probably won't. Will I? No, I probably won't. Well, like everything, it depends on demand, but it's unlikely I will. Once they're gone, they're probably gone. So anyway, this design is something I'm going to slap some ink on today, and let's see what we can do with it. Now I'm going to use these very cheap markers. I'm going to show you. They're very, very cheap, these markers, very reasonably priced. What they are is essentially they're rip-off Sharpies is what they are. They're identical to the Sharpie. They're called Shuttle Art. I got these ones from Amazon. They were very cheap. I can't remember how much they cost, but for a set of, how many are there? 48 colours there. It was about 10 quid or something like that. And I needed some sort of bottom end cheap markers, and I needed specifically as well, I needed some. Let me show you this. So this is a Sinio manual airbrush, essentially a blow brush. And if you know how to use these, they are very, very effective. If you don't have access to an airbrush and all that equipment, personally, I've used airbrushes. They are brilliant, but they require so much maintenance. Oh my God, they require maintenance. I mean, the effects are brilliant as well, but you've got to be in for the maintenance, and I just got tired of it. I had a massive compressor, really expensive compressor, amazing, like top of the range airbrush, and all the top equipment. It's hugely expensive and it's a real pain to use. Whereas this is dead easy, because all you do is you put one of these or a Sharpie fits inside there, and then you use the ink and you blow it. It blows off the tip onto your piece. It can look absolutely amazing if you're very good with these. If you practice a lot, you just achieve some great effects. And I've achieved some great effects with this. So anyway, let's forget that. I'm not going to use that today. Maybe I should do a video about that another time. Maybe I will. But these today is what I'm using. And we're going to see how effective these are. They don't have the kind of lineup of yellows that I'd like, but we'll work with it. See, there we go. Lots of pinks in there. Lots of pinks and purples. That looks like enough blues. Now, I haven't swatched these either, so I don't know how they're going to come out, which is fine, because I don't mind, because that's the whole point of the exercise, right? We're going to see how well these colours... So, just a couple of things. We're going to see how well these colours go together, first of all. And we're also going to see how well they blend, because these are... they are permanent, and they are a sort of chemical marker, so they should be able to blend a bit. How well they can blend, I don't know. We'll wait and see. But without further ado, let's have a go, see what we can do with them. Okay, I'm going to bottle it there because I'll be honest with you, it's not the most enjoyable process. It's really not very pleasant sometimes. So I made little swatches at the side here of the colours that I was trying to match, because you make swatches when you're trying to colour match. Basically, you're looking for colours that go together. Now, the first thing I learned when I started to swatch these colours is, and this is very common in cheap colours, but you also get it in expensive colours sometimes, which is the colour on the lid is not the colour you're going to get, which is why you swatch them. I was swatching just to, so like for instance, those two, that's pretty accurate. I mean, that's a bit darker than that, and that's probably a bit lighter than that, but I knew them to go together. But I tried another pink, and that was these were pinks, and they were absolutely not right. And then I tried brown. Yeah, I was looking for a brown to go with some yellows to match yellow into brown, and that was really tricky because these are much more orangey than brown, and they're very orangey browns, and that can be fine as well, but I just couldn't find a good match. These are the best match I could come up with eventually. The second thing was when I started to try and blend them, you probably saw that I was struggling to get them to blend. That's not a surprise. Cheap markers generally don't blend. They generally don't blend very well, no matter what you do with them. They don't blend brilliantly, and or some do and some don't. And these mostly didn't. The next problem I ran into was greys, because they've only got two greys, a dark one and a very dark one. And I have to work, if you're working in whites, working with the, with a white colour, and you're trying to grade shadows onto it, you use greys, either warm greys or neutral greys or cool greys. These are very neutral greys, but there's only two of them, so that's the best I could do. And I blended it with a blue there because that was was all I could do. I found a really light sort of, that's like a cool grey. It was that one. That's probably like a cool grey 2 or something like that. They probably actually call it a sky blue, but it's like a cool grey essentially. But that's the best I could do there. And I wouldn't want to put that. I wouldn't want that to end up on a piece of my work that I was wanting to feel happy about. I would be very unhappy with that. Anything else to say? I mean, background worked quite well because I've got a larger surface area to work with, so I could mess that up a bit more. This is not a large surface area. I have to be very careful around these bits, detailed, all that, because the minute you start getting into, like I tried to put a bit of secondary down here afterwards, and you can't really do it with alcohol markers anyway. You put white, you put pink onto blue, it just turns into light purple, lilac colour. So that ain't no good. What I will say is, for some really cheap markers, these are a really good starter set. Really good. They're quite nice, vivid colours. If you don't worry too much about blending and stuff like that, don't worry too much about getting a really sophisticated finish or anything like that. That's kind of cool. A tricky thing is point work as well. Generally, alcohol markers that are more expensive are two-ended like this. You've got a big fat chisel end like that, and you get a fine end like that. And generally, they're very robust and they're put together quite well, so they don't degrade, because you need the fine point work to be able to really make very sort of precise lines and blending on your work. And these are not precise enough. They're fine for colour in large spaces. The minute you get into a bit more fine work, I was really struggling with that actually. I had to cover a few mistakes. Some mistakes I haven't managed to cover at all. Maybe you can see them, but if you can't, I'm not going to point them out. But it was not an easy run. I will say this though, overall, like I just said, these are a really good starter set for somebody who's kicking off. You get these Shuttle Arts off Amazon, and they're so cheap. They're so absurdly cheap that you just think, well, I mean, I looked at it and thought 48 colours for that. In all honesty, you don't really get 48 colours. You get 48 pens. Some of the colours are very, very similar. You can see that some of these are so similar that you'd struggle to put them together. What you'd have to do, if you've got some of these and you wanted to use them properly, because you can't go on the colour on the cap, you would have to go through and you'd have to swatch them one by one. And then you'd have to swatch them again. And what I mean by that is, I just done these swatches because I was just looking for a colour to put with another colour. But if you were going to grade them properly, then you'd go through the whole lot and you go, right, that's the lightest pink I've got. This is the next pink up from that matches that. This is the net, and you go up like that. And then you do the same for yellows, you do the same for blues, you do the same for greens, browns, purples, and what other colour you got. And then after that, you lay your colours down on your picture, and you'd be able to go. So what you do, sorry, I haven't maybe explained that properly. So what you do, you'd give that, you'd call that maybe like A1, and you'd call that A2, and you'd label these so you could go straight to them and go, right, I need an A1 and an A2 because they go together. You go straight to these and you'll be able to do all your pink work on there and so on without having to endlessly do this, which is like, oh, which pink was it again? Was it this one? No, that's a very sort of light purple. Okay. This process cuts up, but you have to do all that first to discover what the actual colour is. Because I looked at that and thought, oh, that's a really nice sort of caramel, beige, light ochre kind of colour, isn't it? I really like that. Then I laid it down and went, okay, that's more like a burnt orange. That's not a caramel. That's not the colour on the lid. That's definitely sort of on the sort of burnt orange spectrum. So I don't know that and by the way, that's fine as long as I can match somewhere else. These are the ones I matched it with. I looked at it, I thought, okay, I can just about match it with that probably, and that as the darkest, and put that as a colourway together. Work them three together like that, which is what you get in there. As it was not brilliant anyway, because turns out they won't really blend anyway. I mean, you don't expect markers like this to blend. I just thought it'd be an interesting exercise if they did. You could do what we call hardline shading much better with this. I'll just quickly illustrate that live. So where can I do it actually? In fact, I'll do it up here. So I do it on the front of his hat. So if I lay down this colour here, I'll lay down, this is my lightest colour of this version, this colourway. There you go. Now I take my, see, I've lost, see, look at them two. You go, which one? Which one's darker? I reckon it's this one. But if I apply it and it's not, then, yeah, that's the darker one. Okay, so this is the next one. So if I want that sort of just to be a bit graded, like around the 4, I'll lay this one down first, because this is my next darkest. Nice fat line around there. And then if I wanted another one, then this is my darkest one, and this will be my real sort of low light. I mean, that's not making very much difference at all, is it? So rather than blend it, I just do a sort of hard line, little bubble there. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible to work with those in a sort of hard line way, which might work out better. but still, judging from what I'm seeing at the moment, I wouldn't want to work at this scale anyway. This is small scale. That is like, it's a very small area, and these are a little bit clunky to be working on this kind of scale. If I worked at a larger scale, it'd be much better, I reckon. Having said that, I don't think I've ever used this yellow before, and it was running out even as I was doing the first bit. So I don't know if I trust it to go any further. That's the other thing, of course. I don't know if they do refills or anything like that. But anyway, guys, there you go. I thought I'd have a go. Just try to do something in cheaper markers, so you can see that you can actually do something with cheaper markers. It's not like you can't do anything. But I can tell you right now, you'd have to spend a whole kind of, you know, 120 hours trying to master these. Doesn't matter what you've mastered already, you know, because I've kind of mastered my style files, but these are not style files. These are something else. These are different. They require a different discipline. So I'd have to spend all the time again trying to get good with these. It doesn't matter that I was good with those before. This is a different tool. So I mean, same with all tools, really. You know, you got to reacquaint yourself with them, and learn to be good all over again. So anyway, there you go. Hope you enjoyed that little exercise down the economy end of the market, and yeah, I'll be back for some more soon.